All right, so New Year's resolutions. Anyone else feel like they usually end up kind of forgotten by February?
Oh, totally. It's always like this big burst of motivation and then poof.
Exactly. So this year we're switching gears a bit. We're diving into something that feels way more doable, setting those like actually achievable parenting goals for 2025. And no, before you ask, it's not about becoming some, picture perfect parent.
No way. The guide we're looking at today, it's
Yeah.
all about keeping things real.
Right. Like, give me realistic over idealistic any day.
Yeah, and what I found so interesting about it is how it really emphasizes those small practical changes. Like, you don't have to overhaul your entire life to see a positive impact on your family.
It's about progress, not perfection, right?
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, I think we've all had those moments, like especially those crazy school mornings where you're like, if I could just clone myself and have one of me for each kid.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah, so those moments where you just wish there was a magic formula for a calmer, more organized routine. And honestly, that's where this guide really resonated with me because it digs into like the importance of routines, but not just in a superficial way. It actually explains why routines are so beneficial for kids on a deeper level.
And that's key. It's not just about, like, getting everyone out the door on time, although I think we'd all take that as a win, but it's about creating a sense of predictability, which kids really thrive on that.
Yeah.
Especially in today's world where everything feels so fast-paced and unpredictable.
It's so true. I used to think routines were just about like, keeping things organized, but it's so much more than that. Speaking of setting ourselves up for success, though, let's talk about those vague resolutions we tend to make. The ones like, this year I will be more fun.
Ju-
Like, what does that even
I
mean?
was just thinking that. How do you even measure fun? It's so subjective.
Exactly. And this is where this guy gets it right. It pushes you to set those SMART goals, you know, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound.
Exactly. So instead of saying, like, I want to read more to my kids, which who doesn't, right? You would make it a SMART goal, like, I'll read to my kids for 20 minutes before bed each night. See the difference.
Totally. It's so much easier to stick to something when it's that clear cut. You have a plan, you know what you need to do.
Exactly. And it actually brings us to another really important point that this guide emphasizes: self-care. Because, and let's be honest, as parents, it's so easy to put our own needs on the back burner.
Oh, 100%. Like me time. What even is me time?
Seriously. But here's where this guide really challenges that whole mindset that it's selfish to prioritize ourselves, because it's not. It's essential. When we're like running on fumes, we're not exactly the most patient or present parents.
Right. And it's not like we can just like book a spa day at a moment's notice.
Yeah, exactly. It's about those little things you can squeeze in throughout the day, like even if it's just for 5 minutes.
5 minutes can make a world of difference, honestly.
Totally. Like
Yeah.
even just stepping outside for a breath of fresh air. This guide had some ideas for that, right?
It did, yeah. It talks about setting boundaries, prioritizing sleep, carving out time for things you enjoy. It's all about like filling your own cup so you can be the best parent you can be, which I don't know about you, but that whole connection thing, that always resonates with me. It's so easy to just get caught up in the day to day and forget to really connect with your kids.
Oh, I know it. And that's where this guy gets really interesting because it talks about the importance of rituals, but not in a like formal way.
Yeah.
It's more about creating those small, consistent traditions that are unique to your family,
Okay. I like where this is going. Tell me more.
right? So it could be anything like a weekly game night where you put away all the devices and just like focus on each other.
Yeah. Or like Sunday morning pancakes or reading a bedtime story together every night.
Exactly. It's those little things that become so special. It's like those memories, they just stay with you.
They really do. I can still remember, like, vividly, those Friday night pizza and movie nights we used to have when I was a kid.
It's so true. And what the guide emphasizes is that it's not about the activity itself so much as it's about the intention behind it. It's about being present, like really being there in the moment with your kids, putting the phones down,
Yeah.
turning off the TV.
Which, easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, totally. But that's what's so great about this guide because it provides some really practical strategies for making those changes. Like it talks about the importance of setting aside dedicated family time, even if it's just for 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes of quality time is better than, like, an hour of just being in the same room but not really present?
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. The guide actually emphasizes that simplicity is key. Like go for a walk together, play a board game, just sit and talk. The important thing is to be fully present and engaged.
I love that. And it makes me think about something else the guide talks about, which is the importance of routines, which we kind of touched on earlier. It might seem counterintuitive, but having those routines in place can actually free up more time and mental energy for those spontaneous moments of connection.
It's so true. It's like when you're not constantly stressed about bedtime or homework or whatever, because you have a system, you can actually relax and enjoy those moments with your kids more.
Exactly. It's like that saying, right? The days are long, but the years are short. Like, we need to savor those little
You
moments.
do, because before you know it, they're all grown up.
And you're like, wait, come back.
Exactly.
It's true. They do grow up so fast. But I feel like what we keep coming back to with this guide is that it's not about, striving for this unattainable idea of being the perfect parent.
It's about finding what works for your family
Mm,
and giving yourself permission to, like, let go of those unrealistic expectations.
exactly. Which, speaking of expectations, let's be real. Even with the best intentions, even with our SMART goals and our color-coded family calendars, there are going to be days when it just feels like, I don't know, we're failing.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? That's okay. The guide actually talks about this. It emphasizes the importance of giving ourselves grace, like celebrating those small wins along the way.
Oh, I love that because it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day chaos and forget to acknowledge, like,
Mm.
hey, we did some things right today.
It's so true. We often focus on what's not working instead of, like, taking a moment to appreciate what is.
Exactly. And sometimes those wins are tiny, right? Like,
Yeah.
my kid put their shoes on the right feet this morning without being asked. I'm like, that's it. We're celebrating. That's a win.
Those little victories count, and they deserve to be celebrated. I love that the guide even suggests, like, creating a family achievement board,
Yeah.
where you can write down those accomplishments, big or small, or like having a silly little dance party when you achieve a goal together as a family.
Oh, I love that. We do dance parties in our house for like pretty much any occasion.
It's all about creating that positive energy,
Well,
right? For
yeah.
you and for your kids.
It really is. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I feel like the biggest takeaway for me is this whole idea of shifting our perspective.
Yes, from perfection to progress.
Exactly. And recognizing that even those small changes, they can make a world of difference.
They really can. And that by prioritizing, self-care, connection, those little moments of joy, it can make a huge difference in creating a more fulfilling and, let's be honest, less stressful family life.
Because we could all use a little less stress.
But I am into that.
So, to all our amazing listeners out there, as we head into a brand new year, I want to leave you with this. What's one small change you can make today to create a more connected, joyful, and maybe even a little bit calmer family life in 2025? Until next time, happy parenting, everyone.